When your passion for cameras leads you to opening a museum, showcasing your private collection with rare treasures from different eras. Discover unique and delightful dishes created by a Filipino chef who draws inspiration from cuisines around the world. Craft a one-of-a-kind wristwatch using time to tell one's personal story.
Lots of people here in Hong Kong are into photography. Some are so into it that they collect camera equipment. Now, one brand that many of these enthusiasts like to collect is a classic German one known for its quality and design. Today, we're going to talk to one of these avid collectors who's so passionate about the subject matter that he's opened his own photography museum right here in our city. Douglas, it's great to see you. Thank you for inviting us to your museum.
Hello, Desmond.
Now, of course, for visitors who come in, the first thing they see is this very special sculpture. Can you introduce this to us, please?
可以啊，呢個咧係一個華裔嘅藝術家，叫做廖一白先生咧。佢大概就喺15年前嘅時候咧創作呢一個嘅藝術品嘅。
So Douglas tells me the sculpture is very special. It's by a Chinese artist named Liu Yibai, created about 15 years ago. And you can see that he put a lot of work and resources into it. It's very heavy because inside it's concrete and outside it's wrapped in stainless steel. And what's special about it, it's taken this brand of camera, it's over 100 models of camera, and have amalgamated all of the different features in a single camera. There are only 3 pieces that have been produced. One of them is right here in this museum. One piece is in Holland, and the third piece is in the headquarters of this company in Germany. Now, one thing I have to ask you is, why did you decide to buy this building, the original site, and turn it into a photography museum?
咁我記得大概喺10年前咧，突然間知道咧佢喺市場上面咧係放售，咁啊所以就當然我哋都好希望可以把握到呢個機會啦，所以我哋就買咗呢個建築啦。
So the way they bought this building, it really came about as fate. Because Douglas tells me that he himself is a Happy Valley resident, and about 10 years ago, he found out that this building was for sale. He came and took a look and bought it. And because it's so historic, it's like a piece of art. And he said there are a lot of features about this place from the 1930s that have been preserved, of course, been rejuvenated, and then he turned it into this museum. Coming up on this floor, we finally get to check out the many cameras that Douglas has collected of this iconic brand representing different periods, models, and styles. It seems that you have a special affinity for this particular brand of camera from Germany. Why is that?
我中意呢個品牌嘅其中一個原因就係因為我覺得佢係充滿咗故事，而且咧對於成個攝影世界嘅發展咧有一個好重要嘅影響嘅。咁我手頭上邊攞住呢一個咧就係 M 咧佢出廠之前咧佢嘅一啲咧我哋叫做實驗嘅相機，一共咧只係出咗65部啫。咁呢一部咧就寫住0065咧就係佢最後嘅一部啦。
So one of the brand's most iconic models came out in 1954, and that was the Model M. For people who know about nice cars, you have something called a concept car. I guess there's such thing as a concept camera or an experimental camera where the brand will make some cameras before they actually put it into production. So one of these cameras, for example, this one here was the predecessor to the M camera, and apparently this one, serial number 65, was the very last one before they actually came out with the M model. This next one here has a very special story because of its number. It's the 1 millionth M camera, the body, and also the 1 millionth lens. Now, of course, these things didn't come together, and I asked Douglas, what was the span of time between when he acquired the body and the lens, and he said it took him about 10 years. 10 years time difference to put the two things together.
咁另外 我想介紹一個咧，就係咧，即係當時候咧呢個品牌咧係特別係做俾記者嘅一個相機，咁所以咧佢個型號咧就叫做 MP。
So these two cameras here also have a very special story. They're the same camera, the exact same camera from 1957. But you look at this one, it looks like it's brand new out of the box, whereas this one is used with a lot of wear and tear. Now, first thing, this model is called the MP, so it was M model but made for people who were journalists, and the P stands for professional. This one you can see is very nicely maintained. I kind of jokingly asked Douglas, has this camera ever taken any photos? And he said, well, even if it has taken photos, it's not many. Versus this one, because what's used here is called black paint. Black paint. So as the photographer uses it, the oils of his hands, the elements, you think about it, the rain and the sweat will start stripping some of the paint off. And so you'll see that these two cameras, although it's the exact same model, they look very different.
咁我最後想喺呢度介紹咧，就係咧呢個品牌咧，去到佢嗰個 M 嘅型號咧，去到2004年嘅時候咧，當時又係慶祝係出咗係50週年，咁所以咧佢哋特別咧用鈦金屬咧係出咗一套嘅相機咧，就係一機連埋3支鏡頭嘅。
And finally, we see this kind of package over here. This is a titanium camera. The brand put this out for its 50th anniversary, and it was sold as one body and 3 lenses as a package. Only 50 units were produced for the whole world. And the very interesting thing was the M series, which was produced in 1954. The cameras were labeled 54, 55, 56, and so on until 2004, because that's 50 years. And this camera right here is 2004, which means this was the 50th and last of the cameras that were produced for this very special commemorative package of the camera with 3 lenses. It's such an honor to even touch these things. Thank you.
Thank you.
In addition to cameras, Douglas also collects photography books, many of which are historically significant. Some are even autographed first editions and drafts. I can only imagine that this collection is priceless. Now, Douglas, I thought your camera collection was impressive, but it pales in comparison to your magazine and photo book collection. Do a lot of people collect photo books and magazines, and what's the value in it?
我覺得咧，如果你中意攝影咧，相機、照片同埋攝影書籍咧，係3位一體，唔可以分開。咁好似我手頭上邊呢一個咧，就係一個即係荷蘭嘅攝影師叫做 Van der Helfsken， 佢1959-60年嘅時候嚟咗香港，咁就影咗香港當時候嘅情況。
So Douglas tells us that for people who are really into photography, you wouldn't just collect cameras or only collect film, you would do all 3 things: cameras, film, as well as photography books. The thing with photo books is they are quite rare in the sense that they're not mass published, they're not mass produced. Take this book that Douglas is showing, for example, it's by an artist called Van der Helfsken. He was in Hong Kong in 1959 and 1960, and he took a lot of these old shots of Hong Kong. Very iconic, but this book wasn't published until the 90s. In fact, this one came out in 97. And he said in the 90s, if you were to walk into a bookstore in Hong Kong to get it, you might pick it up for $200-300 bucks. But now, if you were to get your hands on this one, it'd be over 3,000 Hong Kong dollars. So there's definitely appreciation value there. Now, I mean, apart from the value, is there anything else that one should pay attention to when collecting these magazines and these photo books?
好似我手頭上邊咧，大家見到咧有一本咧喺2009年咧有位意大利嘅攝影師叫做 Paolo Perugino， 就係一啲嘅好出名嘅明星，佢哋就讓阿 Paolo 咧入到佢屋企，喺佢哋最冇防備嘅時候咧係影嘅一啲相。
So what Douglas tells us is that when we think of photo books, it doesn't always have to be in a nice kind of coffee table style book, hardcover. It could be something like this. This photo is by an artist called Paolo Pellegrin, is a photo of Kate Winslet when she kind of had her guard down, because Paolo is famous for going into celebrities' houses and taking very candid shots when they're the most vulnerable, not posing for the camera. They did a photo exhibition here with this artist, and he came to Hong Kong, and that's why you see that this magazine has been signed by the artist himself. And I jokingly said to him, I said, I sometimes get these magazines as part of my weekly newspaper subscription, and I collect these things, but my wife makes me throw them all out because she says there's too much junk around the house. So, honey, if you're watching, there's a reason to keep these things.
Joyce, we always have fine dining together, but today I feel like something a little bit more casual. Any recommendations?
Actually, I know of a place down the road. It's like a really nice bistro.
Bistro? What's special about this one?
Let's go find out.
Okay.
Australian celebrity chef Shane Osborne has appeared on various internationally renowned food shows and has won numerous awards. This is one of the restaurants he has opened in Hong Kong. The restaurant is designed with a minimalist and modern Australian cafe concept, giving a comfortable and rustic feeling to customers. The restaurant is currently led by Chef Neil, a Hong Kong-born Filipino chef. The menu incorporates international culinary cultures, including elements from Europe and Asia.
My style would definitely would stem from my childhood and what I've eaten throughout my life. Growing up in Hong Kong, which is a very diverse, multicultural city, I've had the opportunity to eat and learn about different cuisine, and that's played a very big part of my style of cooking. And within that, I have incorporated my learnings from my mentor, which is Shane, and within that cuisine or that style, the core would be high quality ingredients, modest cooking, and simplicity. The first dish would be the beef tataki, which I've used tenderloin. And then the sauce would be a very Chinese-style fermented sauce, fermented chili with black bean, which is Dolce.
Oh, that tastes really unique. I can taste some fermented chili with some fermented black bean flavors in there. Also, I see pickled mushroom and this dressing. It's so appetizing. It's soy yuzu dressing.
It's a bit on the tangy side, right? I like how Chef Neil uses all these different kind of ingredients. It also has like watercress and garlic puree. It's not like the usual kind of beef tataki you have, because he likes to use different ingredients and draw upon European and Asian influences, mixing it all together.
And it's very tender.
The message would be try and be more subjective because creativity is subjective. We try our best to make sure that the food and service is good quality.
Ooh, so we've got a 12 hours braised Wagyu beef cheek here. We've got black garlic mayo on the top, a little bit of rice crackers, some spring onions, and then we've got pilaf rice and a soya lemon beef shoot.
Ooh, sounds good. So Chef Neil, he draws inspiration from Cantonese char siu to create this octopus dish. First, he glazes it with a sweet sauce, and then he torches it to have this crispy texture. It's accompanied by smoked cauliflower puree, which adds flavor and aroma to the dish, which I can't wait to try.
Sounds good. Let's go. My Wagyu beef cheek literally just melts in your mouth. And it actually pairs really well with the black garlic mayonnaise. And that little crispy rice adds just that little bit of texture. Love it.
At first bite, my octopus, I thought I was eating char siu. Like the sauce is very similar, but then the texture, once you bite into it, it's got that tender seafood kind of texture there. But then the sauce also pairs very well, and the smoked cauliflower adds another level to this whole dish, that smokiness.
Definitely the char siu wok. That is my favorite. Because it's what I've eaten throughout my life. I like eating char siu or siu mei. These are, to me, hits home and heart the most. The dessert would be choux à la crème, which is a very classical French pastry. But we've added a very tropical fruits that is native to the tropical season, which is ube, mango, and soursop.
Wow! My first bite was just of the soursop cream. And at first bite, it was like a little bit sour, but then actually it melts into something like that's very, very appetizing.
Yeah, I totally get what you mean. I had the soursop cream and the ube cream together, so it really balances each other off. You get that like sourish flavor, but you get that sweet, rich flavor from the ube as well.
Oh. You hear that? The peanut brittle is so good. It's like really crispy, but the roasted peanuts flavor inside is like very, very elevated. It's like very strong on peanuts.
I love that caramelized flavor as well, right? And actually, if you put it all together, we've got the soursop cream, the ube cream, the mango, as well as that puff pastry. It's like a party in your mouth.
After having this dish and the previous dishes, I feel like my taste buds traveled around the world today.
Actually, chefs these days are like super creative. They like to draw influences from all over the world, use different kind of ingredients and experiment. That's why, as diners, we always get these different surprises.
I like that.
Watches don't only tell us the time, it's also an accessory that complements your outfit. But choosing the right watch that reflects your personal style and character is not that easy. Hong Kong has achieved international standards in watch design, watchmaking, and parts development. In order to further break through boundaries, Quinn and his team have worked tirelessly to pass on more watchmaking craftsmanship, aiming to create a Hong Kong-made watch that is recognized internationally. Hi, Quinn.
Hi, Joyce.
So why did you decide to work in the watch industry?
I guess I just kind of like it first. I basically had a lot of startup ideas. So I was sorting them out and I was figuring out what works best for Hong Kong. And as I was looking at all those business models, watches just kept jumping out. It's obviously a bias. So I like watches, so I just started it, yeah.
Would you say one of the challenges that not a lot of people actually know about local watch brands?
Local brands in general, local brands, local designs, local crafts. I actually went out and did like a video survey before, and I was asking people around the streets, how many Hong Kong brands can you count? People can count just a few of those like soy sauce brands. But I know for a fact that I have a bunch of friends that's doing brands and crafts in Hong Kong. So when people hear about them, they clap, they applaud.
It's admirable, right?
Yeah, I know. They would always say, you should do it. But if they talk to their kids, they're like, don't do it, right? It's like, if you care about that person, you tell them not to do it.
Because it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, you know it. And then a lot of people won't pay for it, unfortunately. So for us, we are a little bit fortunate. I think with the marketing and with over the years, we built a follower base. We do know that some of our customers, especially the new ones, we are creating a made in Hong Kong mechanical movement, right? So this one, we know that when our customers come to us, they take their effort to actually tell us that they care. So in this case, it makes us feel like it's all worth it. The cost to create this, to make it made in Hong Kong, is actually a lot higher than to make it Swiss made. Because Swiss made, we have existing supply chains, we know people, we have partners, we can actually make the Swiss made super easy. I don't even need to hire my own people to do it. But to make it made,
Because it's like mass made, right?
Yeah, mass made, and a lot of people have done that. So many people have made in China stuff, and then they needed to adopt some European design and then make it Swiss made and then sell it as a micro brand. So many business people do it. That's like the easy way to make money. But for us, we wanted to do made in Hong Kong. All of a sudden, we had no one to ask on how to do it. And it's just a completely different thing. Financially, it doesn't make sense, obviously.
Not only can you find Hong Kong-made watches here, but you can also personalize your own watch, creating your very own story. From designing to assembling watch parts, you can experience watchmaking and make a unique watch for yourself.
So can you tell us about your DIY workshop?
Sure. So most of our customers, they come here and then sometimes they have some sort of design in mind, but most of the time they would come here and then rethink all their design. So we have
Change
an
on the
app.
spot.
Yes. So we have an app and to let them to basically preview their designs. They can choose different components, like for example, you can choose a different, like a gold movement over here.
Okay, we're choosing a gold movement.
Yes, you can switch out different straps. This is more metallic feeling and we want, let's say, a bit more weekend feel, then you can add a brown leather strap to it. The key thing is that we can actually customize the whole watch face.
Oh.
So they can add their names, they can type in their own stuff. We usually recommend them to try their handwriting.
Oh, wow.
Because then you make it really unique. Because when you just
Becomes
choose
very personalized.
Yeah. Because if you just choose a font, right, everyone else can do that. But if it's your handwriting, then this becomes your own thing.
Yeah.
The key thing in this experience, though, it's actually more about not just learning the steps, but the mindset and also the patience. It's more about how you feel the time passes. If you're rushed when you're trying to create something and when you're trying to assemble a watch, it's like a very simple step, but somehow you just can't do it because it's getting to a scale where if you're nervous or if you're impatient, then your hands start to not listen to you because it's a very small component, right? So it's quite a fun experience, I would say.
Requires a lot of attention to detail.
Yeah, attention to detail, but at the same time, it's a little bit, you need to have a more relaxed mindset. So if you're more chill about it, you come in and like, let's say 2 in the afternoon and you know you have 4 hours here, you can just slowly spend time to enjoy this, then generally those people can actually complete the workshop sooner than those people that come in at 5 and say they have a dinner at 7. Yeah, if they come in at 5 and have a dinner at 7, generally they can't finish it and they would have to cancel their dinner. So,
So the mindset's also very important.
Yeah. So I think one of the best things that comes out of this workshop is that people learn how to appreciate watches differently. They would kind of know why, like, okay, a mechanical watch is there because someone actually not just took the time or did the steps, right? Someone actually had that mindset, slowly knew that their watch was worth it, and they created that piece of craft for them. So, yeah.